Cancer, heart disease, ADHD, and depression. Two of those are the number one causes of death in the United States of America. That would be heart disease and cancer. ADHD and depression also stem from an unhealthy diet and lifestyle. In America, we have the freedom and right to live how we desire. Many of my fellow Americans are oblivious to the fact that the food and drinks they consume are not what the product perceives to be on the title or box. It's all listed in the ingredients. I need everyone that wants to live a long and happy life to be aware that 80% of the food sold in America is filled with toxic chemicals. And I urge you to take the time to be aware and find that the other 20% of natural chemical-free alternatives to feed you and your family. You are what you eat. Just like drugs are bad for your body, so are chemicals, natural flavor, artificial dyes, and the overuse of sugar. I have information on what foods create unhealthy and sick individuals, and I urge everyone to avoid them at all costs. Children are our future, and who we need to set an example for, to lead them in a direction to help them think for themselves and to know what is true and what is false. In the 1920s and 1930s, doctors and the U.S. Surgeon General encouraged Americans to smoke and that cigarettes were safe and effective. Now, 100 years later, grocery stores and corner stores are filled with processed materials filled with unnatural ingredients, artificial dyes, and the FDA says that they are safe and nutritious. According to the Center for Disease Control's government website, as of 2019, they indicate a whopping 25% of children aged 3 to 17 years old have been diagnosed with ADHD. When I looked up the number, I was quite stunned. I did not expect one-fourth of the children in the United States to be diagnosed with ADHD. Another alarming statistic from the CDC is that over 75% of the children diagnosed are taking ADHD medications. Studies conducted at the University of Oregon Health and Science Division have linked artificial food dyes like Red 40 to ADHD and hyperactivity in children and young adults. The same studies show that the children with the diet of eliminating artificial food dyes have shown significant improvements in behavior and attention. Red 40 is the most widely used food dye in the United States. According to the Cleveland Clinic, the side effects listed from Red 40 are no different than those you see on a pharmaceutical commercial. Red 40 is known to cause hyperactivity, ADHD, and behavioral changes like irritability and depression. Also asthma. Red 40 is created with benzene, which is a documented cancer-causing substance. Brand name items like Fruity Pebbles, Doritos, Gatorade, Heinz Ketchup, Jell-O, Kool-Aid, Cheetos, Mott's Fruit Snacks, and even children's Tylenol and Motrin all contain Red 40 as a main ingredient. To learn that the FDA states that it is a small amount and that it is safe for human consumption is absurd when they do not account for the large servings consumers and children consume. Drinking natural spring water is the best replacement for juice boxes and Gatorade sports drinks for children. There is uncaffeinated tea, organic fruit juice, also available as refreshments. 100 years ago, we made our own juice with Grandma from natural fruits and vegetables. The consumption of Red 40 should be limited down to none because all of its documented risk factors. The International Agency for Research on Cancer states that glyphosate is a cancer-causing compound and is categorized as a probable carcinogen. In farm animals fed soybean products, including glyphosate in the ingredients, there have been reports of the animals dying from liver and kidney failures. Glyphosate is the same active ingredient in Monsanto's weed killer Roundup, which has been linked to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma as stated by the World Health Organization. The United States Public Interest Research Group conducted tests in 2019 and found glyphosate the cancer-causing compound in many popular alcoholic beverages. Some of the most popular brands are Barefoot Wine and Suter Home Wines, Coors Light and Miller Lite Beer, Corona, Budweiser, and Stella Artois Beer. All of them have come back with positive results, reporting they contain significant levels of glyphosate. Moderation is key, but I suggest cutting alcohol out of your diet as soon as possible. The human race and animals alike have survived millions of years by drinking only water because that's all we need. If you are wanting to grab some fast food, stay away from Panera Bread. Out of the top 20 most popular fast food brands tested for glyphosate, the popular fast food chain came in at number 1 for having the highest levels of glyphosate in their products. The Moms Across America organization reports that 100% of the fast food chains they tested all contain glyphosate in their products. McDonald's, Dunkin', Chick-fil-A, and Subway all have made the list. We know that fast food is not healthy for you, but in today's world, it is extremely unhealthy. Though it is very convenient for some people, I urge you to resist the temptations of advertisement for fast food. If you want to live happy and healthy, because it's too hard to say no sometimes, and just try to stick to your schedule of making dinner at home using your natural food ingredients. A peer-reviewed study of glyphosate was published by Elsevier Journal, Environmental Research in November of 2023, stating the finding of glyphosate exposure is linked to severe depression and cognitive decline in American adults. With the rise of mental health disorders in the United States and the market of growing fast food businesses, it shows that there is a link associated between the fast food and poor mental health in America. Now, toxic and cancer-causing foods do not always have a scientific name that nobody has heard of. The number one food additive that is linked to health concerns, mental health disorders, and cancer growth is sugar. In the United States, it is reported by the World Health Organization that the intake of sugar by Americans is significantly higher than the recommended consumption deemed safe and healthy. Evidence from preclinical studies have shown that the consumption of sugar over a period of time can lead to development of cancer and the progression of other diseases or chronic illnesses. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 24 grams of sugar daily for adult women and no more than 36 grams of sugar daily for adult men. Compared to a can of Coke or Pepsi, one can of either of those drinks will have you over your limit. Just one can of 12-ounce Mountain Dew has 56 grams of sugar, and that is pretty much triple the recommended daily intake of sugar in just one can. Cancer loves sugar. Cancer cells consume 15 times the glucose of any other cell, which was discovered by Dr. Otto Warburg. Sugar is also highly addictive and triggers the same reward receptors in a human's brain as stimulating drugs do. Studies conducted and published by 2 doctors from the American Heart Institute of Kansas have reported the side effects of sugar to be more addictive than cocaine. Going to the grocery store and trying to avoid sugar is overwhelming, but with some patience and thought you can avoid excess amounts of sugar. Drink water, eat pasture-raised animals, and stop buying packaged materials overloaded with sugar. There are so many food and drinks in the United States that are not really food at all. Just filler matter laced with chemicals. If I had time for another topic, I would love to tell you about the pharmaceutical companies that have deals made with big box brand food companies. There is a strong correlation that eating toxic foods leads to someone who needs prescription medication in the future. Eating natural foods that were not processed or made in a laboratory is almost impossible in today's society. But you do have the choice of what you put into your body. Eating organic fruits and veggies, avoiding fast food altogether, and limiting your sugar intake is quite easy to do. Finding the way to afford higher quality food without chemicals is hard for some families because the cost of sugar-filled and artificial food is far less expensive than the organic, natural, nutrient-filled food. I would recommend not eating at all rather than eating all the junk that's advertised toward us these days. If you want to be happy and healthy, you need to eat healthily. To my fellow Americans, be safe out there, because all the food is poison.